Welcome, dear friends, to a vital conversation about a spiritual discipline that can be incredibly challenging in our fast-paced world, cultivating patience. We live in an era of instant gratification, where we expect quick results, immediate answers, and swift progress. But life, and especially our walk with God, often requires us to wait. This waiting period can be frustrating, filled with anxiety, and can test the very limits of our faith. Yet, God's Word calls us to a deeper understanding of patience, not as a passive surrender, but as an active trust in His perfect timing and sovereign plan. Today, we'll explore why patience is so crucial for our spiritual growth, the peace it brings, and practical ways to embrace waiting on God with grace and expectancy. First, let's understand patience from a biblical perspective. It's not merely the ability to wait, it's the ability to wait with a good attitude, with faith, and with hope, knowing that God is at work even when we cannot see it. Consider the encouraging words from Psalm chapter 27, verse 14, "Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage, wait for the Lord." This psalm is a direct command to wait, but it's coupled with an instruction to be strong and courageous while doing so. It emphasizes that waiting on God is an act of faith and strength, not weakness. Another powerful insight comes from James chapter 1, verses 2 to 4, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." Here, patience, or steadfastness, is seen as a fruit of testing, a refining process that makes us more complete and mature in our faith. It's purpose-driven. Why is waiting so difficult, and why does God often lead us through periods of waiting? Our impatience often stems from our limited perspective. We see only a small piece of the puzzle, and we want to control the timeline. But God, in His infinite wisdom, sees the whole picture. He knows what needs to happen before a promise can be fulfilled, what character needs to be developed in us, or what external circumstances need to align. His timing is always perfect, even when it feels slow to us. Waiting on God is an essential part of spiritual maturity. It teaches us reliance on Him, builds our character, strengthens our faith, and deepens our trust in His sovereignty. It forces us to lean not on our own understanding, but on His. This process, though challenging, ultimately leads to greater peace and profound blessing. Now, let's explore some practical ways to cultivate patience and wait on God's timing with a heart full of faith. First, embrace God's sovereignty. Remind yourself that God is in control. He knows the beginning from the end. When impatience rises, declare His sovereignty over your situation. Surrender your timeline to His perfect one. This act of surrender helps quiet the anxious urge to rush. Second, immerse yourself in God's promises. When you're waiting, it's easy for doubt and discouragement to creep in. Combat this by saturating your mind with God's Word. Recall verses that speak of His faithfulness, His provision, and His good plans. Romans chapter 8, verse 25 says, "But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently." Hope in His promises fuels patient waiting. Third, practice purposeful waiting. Don't just sit idly by. Use the waiting period to grow, learn, and prepare. What character qualities can God develop in you during this time? What new skills can you acquire? How can you serve others while you wait? This transforms waiting from a frustrating void into a fruitful season of preparation. Fourth, cultivate a heart of gratitude. As we discussed in a previous video, gratitude can transform our perspective. Even in waiting, there are blessings to be found. Be thankful for what God has already done, for the lessons learned in the waiting, and for His faithful presence with you. A grateful heart makes waiting far more bearable. Fifth, remember past experiences of God's faithfulness. Look back at times when God came through for you, perhaps even after a period of waiting. Recalling His past faithfulness builds confidence for your current situation. If He did it before, He can and will do it again. Finally, seek encouragement from biblical examples of patience. Think of Abraham waiting decades for the promised son, or Joseph enduring years of betrayal and imprisonment before his destiny was revealed. Their stories remind us that God's timing is often far beyond our understanding, but His promises are always true. Their perseverance can inspire your own. Cultivating patience is a journey that reshapes our hearts, aligning them more closely with God's eternal perspective. It's a challenging but ultimately rewarding path that leads to deeper trust, greater peace, and the ability to fully receive the blessings God has prepared for us in His perfect time. Embrace the waiting, for God is doing a mighty work within you. As we conclude, I encourage you to identify one area where you are currently struggling with impatience. Hand that timeline over to God, asking Him for the grace to wait with strength and courage. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of cultivating patience. If this message has blessed you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to find peace in waiting, and subscribe to our channel for more content that encourages and uplifts your spirit. May God's perfect timing bring you profound peace and breakthrough.